Well, well, well. Is anyone gonna tell them?
Hello and welcome back to my channel. So with everything going on between Israel and Palestine, there's been some concerns or arguments from the LGBTQ community, with almost every person, almost the entire world on Palestine's sides. Should the LGBT community side with Palestine? Let's watch this video and then we're gonna talk.
So I think this picture right here might just encapsulate how little people living in the liberal bubble know about what goes on in the country or in the world outside of our country. Palestine, there is no LGBTQ. There's no rights for LGBTQ. There's a lot of hate. And while Israel is not yet where America is with that, they have come a long way into taking steps against discrimination of the LGBTQ community. So just to clarify, there are two sides to this argument: Palestine, Israel. You march in the streets for equality and acceptance, and when given the choice between two groups of people to support, you support the people with the most hatred in their hearts for your community.
Hold on, just hold on. Let's see what the Palestinians think about the LGBT community supporting them. So this is not just from one person. One may say, that's just one video, that's a coincidence. Watch this and then we'll talk.
Okay, now he gets it. Yes.
شوية إنهم هذول مجموعة هذول هم بدعموا فلسطين، بدعموا الفلسطينيين والقضية الفلسطينية.
أول شيء إحنا بنقبل الشعب الفلسطيني بنقبل أي دعم.
First of all, the Palestinian people accepts any support.
بس دعم هيك لا.
But a support like this, no.
Oh, why not?
ليش لا؟
لأنه بعرف بس غلط الإشي.
Because I don't know, because it's just wrong.
Okay, like immoral meaning?
يعني غير أخلاقي، ليش غلط؟
الإشي اللي بيعملوه غير أخلاقي.
Because I believe what they're doing is immoral and we do not need their support.
Being gay, that sort of thing.
لأنهم مثليين. Yes.
Well, it's healthy for me.
في مجموعة في العالم بتدعم المثليين أو المثليين في فلسطين. شو رأيك فيهم هذول؟
طبعا فلسطين هذا يعني مش مقبول نهائيا. بفلسطين مش مقبول نهائيا.
It's very unacceptable.
ما بنستقبل هاي يعني مثل هاي الحالات بنحاولها.
We don't like that and we are against it. Why?
مسيئة للإسلام ومسيئة لعاداتنا.
Against the Islam and the traditions and customs.
وعادة مش منيحة نهائيا يعني هاي.
It's not healthy.
حتى أولادنا يتعلموها.
Even our children to learn it from them.
إنه إحنا الشعب الفلسطيني تعرف شو قضيتنا إحنا.
Because the Palestinian we have a cause and that would affect it.
Well, it's healthy for me.
في مجموعة في العالم بتدعم
Okay, so I'm not trying to prove any point by playing those two videos. Don't be too quick to judge me. I've got my own thoughts at the end of this video, so make sure you watch this video if you want to find out what I think about these videos. With that being said, let's see what the LGBT community has to say about supporting Palestine.
For all the LGBTQ people not supporting Palestine right now because, oh, how can I support Palestine if Palestine doesn't support gay rights? You need to wake the fuck up, okay? It is actively homophobic and sexist to right now be supporting the colonization of Palestine in the name of queer rights. Okay, there is no way there's going to be any advancement of queer rights in Palestine if people don't have basic needs like electricity, food, and water. So supporting the jelly side of Palestine right now, that is supporting the same imperialists who suppress trans and queer rights. And I'm going to read you a quote by Leslie Feinberg, who was a prominent trans and queer rights activist, to get the point across. At the 2002 Al Fatih International Retreat, Feinberg said, "I am lesbian and transgender. I am a working-class, secular Jewish socialist, and with every breath and every sinew, I fight for Palestinian liberation. I do not believe that our sexuality, gender expression, and bodies can be liberated without making a ferocious mobilization against imperialist war and racism an integral part of our struggle." The degree to which any movement is progressive or revolutionary is measured by its independence from the rulers of the society it seeks to change. Are war and racism gay or trans issues? That's an old argument in our movement, and how it has been answered has signaled whether the movement collapse or gain new vitality. LGBT people have played a key role in the anti-capitalist movement against globalization, the struggles against sweatshop and prison labor, against the racist death penalty, for reproductive rights, for money for AIDS and healthcare and education. Now we need to unite the power of these movements. Free, free Palestine.
How are gay people supporting Palestine if you get thrown off a building there? You wouldn't be thrown off a building. You get about 10 years in prison. Because according to 152 Penal Code of Gaza, consensual same-sex relationships are punishable by about 10 years in prison. But it could be moved up as far as the death penalty. So why are some people that are gay still supporting Palestine? Well, personally, I think everyone should have human rights. Just because you discriminate against me doesn't mean I'm going to discriminate against you. But with that said, I'm still amazed that people are like, oh, this is such a simple issue. This isn't a political issue. This is a human rights issue. Oh, you want to talk about human rights issues? Both sides are in human rights violations, right? Israel with the land and the geographical issue. And then we have organizations like the WCSLAC that are saying like, oh yeah, random women are killed in Palestine for no reason. And then they report this. You wanted me to talk about the Palestine-Israel issue, and you're like, oh, it's not that complicated, it's a human rights issue. Well, one thing, political issues are human rights issues. And two, you really think it's that complicated? There's a huge amount of tragedy going on in both sides. You really think it's just gonna say hashtag free Palestine and that's gonna fix the problem? This is some serious political distress. A hashtag is not gonna fix this.
I want to say something about the gay people that support Palestine. First of all, they're gonna take a knife. And after that, they're gonna head off. For them, even dogs, they're better than you. So before you scream, free Palestine, know your right in Gaza. Know your right in Palestine. You don't have one.
As much as I hate this comment, I also love this comment because it offers a great opportunity for learning for people who are watching this video on TikTok. One of the most insidious tactics that Israel uses to gain legitimacy in the eyes of the international community is pinkwashing. Israel employs pinkwashing by portraying itself as the beacon of queer hope and liberation in the Middle East, in an area that is often known for violence perpetuated against queer people, including people like myself. This rhetoric is insidious for several reasons. 1. By emphasizing homophobia and transphobia in the Palestinian community, it becomes easier to paint them as barbaric savages that do not deserve freedom and a life free of apartheid. 2. Pinkwashing distracts people from the fact that Israel blackmails queer Palestinian people to work as informants against their own communities. Finally, queerphobia, homophobia, transphobia is a universal construct that every country in the world participates in. Just because people aren't being thrown off of roofs in the West does not mean they are not struggling as queer and trans people. Everyone deserves freedom.
I've received quite a lot of messages along the lines of, how can you support Palestine as a queer person? Don't you know that you can be in prison for up to 10 years for being queer in Palestine? The simple answer is yes. Queer people can support Palestine, even in the face of discrimination and bigotry. Queer people who understand what it feels like to be discriminated against on so many levels can rise above and understand that when a genocide is happening and innocent civilians are being killed, and that those who are being killed are not responsible for putting queer people in jail, yes, queer people must stand up for innocent lives being taken. Especially for queer people of color, our experiences of growing up in countries where being queer has been illegal, oppressive, and discriminatory, this gives us a different perspective on discrimination. Our response to inequality should not be tit for tat. Some people only care about their own rights, and the privilege really shows. But we cannot let inequality blind us from the genocide and ethnic cleansing that is taking place in Gaza. Another type of message I've been getting a lot is, why do queer people have to show up as visibly queer at protests? For me, queer people, especially queer people of color, being visibly queer at a protest is so powerful. For me, seeing visible queer people at the Lydon protest this week made me feel very safe, as I don't know if I'm always welcome in these spaces. We are showing the world that even as a community who has been discriminated against, who is being discriminated against, we are still able to stand up for humanity and human rights and look outside of our own experiences. You should not only be protesting when something affects you. If that person is you, check your privilege.
Hi, I just want to make something really fucking clear right now. All of the people being like, oh, why are gay people supporting Palestine? They hate you, blah, 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 blah. It's never been about that. It has never, ever been about that. They are experiencing genocide. They can hate me all they want for who I love. They still get to live. They still get to not experience genocide. This, like, you guys being like, oh, well, they hate you, why are you supporting them? Because they're being killed. Because they're actively being murdered. Because this isn't like, oh, well, they don't like me, so they deserve to die. That's literally never been it. And y'all saying that just proves that any form of activism you have ever cared about has been fake. It's always been transactional. It's always been, you know, specific to what they can do for you in the end. And the rest of us know it has never, ever, ever been like that. You are weird.
A 25-year-old Palestinian gay man was beheaded last night. Ahmed Abu Marhiya was a Palestinian gay man that received an asylum to live in Israel for 2 years because he's gay. Yesterday, someone found out about it and kidnapped him, took him to the West Bank, where he was beheaded on social media, just to make sure that other LGBTQ Palestinians know that they need to stay in the closet if they don't want to. What's even more heartbreaking is that you haven't heard about it. That no American politician, no media outlet, none of the social media activists that are so loud about this issue of Israel and Palestine have spoken about it. Ask yourself why.
Values. I keep getting comments that if I was in Gaza, I would be killed for being queer. And first off, there are queer people in Gaza, and they're being killed for being Palestinian. Secondly, I don't need to move across the ocean to experience violence for being queer. I literally had to evacuate my place 6 months ago because people were so violent and sending me death threats, literally hunting me down for being trans. This is in the United States of America. The United States of America for trans people is in stage 7 and 8. Palestine is in 9 and 10. There is a reason why the United States was the only country who vetoed a United Nations Security Council resolution. There is a reason why our government is so adamant about saying level the place. There is a reason why this country continues to ignore what's happening in Palestine, because our country is built on genocide. And by the way, Hitler, he also attacked queer people. There's a reason why we were forced to wear pink triangles. And also, he literally got his ideas for concentration camps from the United States of America. History is repeating itself right now, and how dare you try to weaponize my queerness in order to manipulate me to support genocide. I will never stand by Israel's actions. I won't stand by Israel in general. And if you are queer and you are standing with Israel, you're wrong, and you really need to take a step back and evaluate your morals and values.
Comments like this are super irresponsible. They are goofy because what you are trying to do is you're trying to sow doubt in the minds of other queer and trans people that stand with the people of Palestine, that believe that the Palestinians are currently going through a genocide, that they are being currently ethnically cleansed from their traditional lands. That is not a statement that needs to be, that's not something that's quid pro quo. Nobody needs to come in and say, I'm going to support you, but you have to support me on my problem. And even then, beyond that, there are queer and trans Muslims. There are people that live all over the world in communities that you think that queer and trans people wouldn't exist in. They exist. And if you're going to say, oh, well, they get killed there, they get killed here too. Homicides against trans people in the United States has doubled in the last 5 years. I fail to see your point. Remember, folks, human rights are not transactional.
Okay, so I promised everybody my opinion on this at the end of the video. So this is the end of the video, and here are my thoughts. Here goes. So I think, personally, I think there's a point that everybody is missing in all this, you know, LGBTQ people supporting Palestinians. So what I think is that gay people have got feelings too, right? Okay, that's what I believe. And they're seeing what is happening in Palestine. Let's put aside what can be done to a gay person in that land, and let's focus on humanity. These guys' numbers to support Palestine in any way matters right now, despite who they are, what they've become, or what they've decided to be, right? They are humans and not animals. And if Palestine has a problem with being supported by the LGBT community at this point, I would say Palestine is a problem. Yeah, because Palestine right now, like Palestine need as many voices to speak for them right now. It doesn't matter where the voice is coming from. I'm sure even the LGBT community knows that. They know that they don't have any plans to step in Palestine or anything like that. All they are doing right now is offering their support, and I don't see any harm in that. Yes, there are no laws in Palestine that support gay rights. So what? it's not like they are planning to go and settle there after the war. This is about humanity. Any person with a soul, any person who has feelings, any person with a heart has the right to decide on supporting what is right. And what is right now is ending, you know, what is happening that side. Not in my position to argue on this, but they have just proven that they are humans too with feelings, just like any other normal person. They can see what normal people are seeing, and that is pain, suffering of the Palestinians, children and women. And with that said, I think we've come to the end of the video. You guys, let me know what you think about this video in the comment section below. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, guys, please go ahead, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so that every time I upload such new videos, guys, you'll be notified. I'll definitely see you in my next video. Please stay peaceful.